Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Finger Guns Podcast with Tony, Dave, and James. I am your podcast host, Jimmy, and I'm joined here with
Big Tasty Tony B.
And
Dramatic Dave.
Still dramatic, buddy?
Yeah, I'm dramatic this time.
Look how he's fucking.
We're almost.
he's
We almost got it.
Yeah.
We're almost through our documentaries, so I just wanted to just go back to dramatic instead of being documentary Dave.
The drama.
Yes, the drama.
Yeah, you were always the other half to my comedy mask thing anyway.
I get it. I get it. Thank you. Yeah, it's a visual gag.
Don't worry about it, Tony. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
That's I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
you're here with me.
What
Glad
else
you're on
would
this
I be?
journey. I don't know.
I'm always on this. We've always been on this journey together.
Well, this is true.
This journey we call life.
You're never alone. Guys, you're never alone when you're with Christ.
Who says I'm with Christ? Who have you been talking to? I was in the witness protection program. I was told I was going to be safe. Anyway, we got some things to cover.
Yes, we
You
do.
wanna get into this?
Yes, I would love to get into it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we have finally, question mark, finally? This is going to be it?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows?
We're finally done with hot dogs?
Post-credit
knows?
scene hot dogs?
Post
Who knows?
It's back.
Who knows? Hot dogs was
Hot dogs
so
will
good to
return.
us. So good to us this year that
Took
we had
3 episodes.
we had to get through it in 3 this time.
One of which was entirely dedicated to hot dogs.
It's been a good time.
Bless your hearts, hot dogs. Bless your hearts.
I
We
love
love
them.
you. Thank you for being good to us.
Yeah.
We're all praying and rooting for you for another year.
Never stop, never stopping. Please. So let's get into this then. Let's wrap up these final few documentaries that we wanted to get through, even though the festival's long since done. But we will. We have no theater screening schedules for you, but we're going to tell you which ones to keep an eye out for and which ones that maybe you don't keep an eye out for. But I mean, keep an eye out for all of them. Documentaries need love too.
This is true.
Tony, what do we got first?
First up, we got Sweeties.
Sweeties.
So this one was not on my list, but it was the one that I watched.
Oh, all right.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is Dave's pick.
Yeah,
I'm watching it on behalf of Dave.
Oh, nice. And so put on your best Dave hat.
All right, so
it's
I'm
got to
gonna
be
put on
reviewed
my-
like Dave.
It's gonna be reviewed like Dave.
So long and over bloated.
This guy.
I'm here with the zingers tonight. Tell me, go.
Oh my gosh. This one follows 3 teenage girls. They're at a campsite in a French campsite, and it just basically
What makes it French?
Is it in France, but they're Dutch? Because I know it's also in Dutch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now I understand.
Yes, because
It's
I
a
was gonna-
French campsite.
I was going to try to pronounce their the directors' names, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to.
Were they just at Le Campsite?
Basically follows them, and basically through their relationships with their friends, relationships with the opposite sex, obviously, and
Nice.
their relationship with how they are online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of like
Sounds like
Snapchat
three
videos,
personas.
Snapchat videos, a lot of TikTok videos, like that kind of thing. I want to know how they filmed it and how they got their permissions to film it. I guess it's a little bit more laxed over there in Europe because like there was some like intimate scenes, just getting some like deep thoughts. A girl gets her first kiss with a crush of hers at camp. There's that scene too that I thought that was very weird, but here we are. They're telling a story. It's basically like very like fly on the wall kind of thing.
Oh,
I really liked the ending. It closes out with 2 twins. They're eating ice cream, and they're basically saying like what their plans are for the future. It's like,
Nice.
oh, we're gonna get a condo and we're gonna live together. We'll have a boyfriend, but he can live somewhere else.
Nice.
I was like,
they'll
what
have a
the-
boyfriend together.
basically.
Oh, cool. Cool.
It is Europe, Dave.
That's
it is
true.
It's right, but it's very eye opening. Very like I said, fly on the wall.
Yeah.
You're basically just seeing these kids in their journey through camp.
Yeah.
Or at the campsite. It's like a family thing, basically.
Are the three of them like related? Are they friends? Or like there's three separate kids?
No, they're all like friends with each other, right? So it's like different threads, and it follows like it doesn't just follow the three of them. It follows like other people too.
Okay, I understand.
Very simple.
Did you like it? Would you recommend it?
It kind of reminded me of Sauna Sisterhood, in the way that
Smoke Sauna
Sisterhood.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking
I know.
about?
I don't know.
I got it.
Yeah,
I was there.
It was like that, where it was like they're basically like living their truths, like telling their feelings and that kind of thing. It sort of reminded me of that kind of. I don't know. It was okay.
Okay.
It was just like one of those one and done things. I felt like I was like, okay, that was neat. On to the next one.
Never return.
No, I probably wouldn't return to it.
Okay.
That's
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So the director's names, I'm not going to pronounce their last names, but one is named Natalie and the other one is named Annika. Or Anik. I think it's Annika.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to give them a shout out just because we didn't say their names.
Oh, yes. Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. What do we got?
What do we got, Tony?
Yeah.
We got The Bones.
The Bones.
Ooh, The Bones. That was a special screening.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yes.
Dave, what is The Bones?
Why was it special?
So they had they had like two unannounced movies that were like surprise special screenings.
Oh,
so they're like one night only ones or one time only ones.
Okay.
So The Bones was one of them. Directed by Jeremy Ito.
Yep.
That's what I'm gonna go with.
Sure.
Apologies to Jeremy if I didn't say your last name right, sir. It is about the dinosaur fossil trade.
Oh,
So it's
interesting.
about the archaeologists and the paleontologists who are finding dinosaur bones.
Yeah.
It's about the people who are selling dinosaur bones and
Black
kind of
market.
the black. It's not even black market because it's not illegal.
So, yeah, you can just sell bones.
You can just sell bones, right? Just like that kind of trade. And then there's also kind of like the high end trading as well. There's the one dinosaur. It's like the biggest Stegosaurus. Is it Stegosaurus? No, or Triceratops. The biggest Triceratops or most complete Triceratops fossil bones that they've ever collected.
Yeah.
They put it up on the European marketplace auction off. So they're talking to like the auctioneer and that whole group of people. And then there's a specific section devoted to Mongolia because that's where a lot of bones have been found.
Oh,
and a lot of bones have been quote unquote stolen.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And how they've been trying to get them back.
Huh.
And the one woman that they kind of profile, she started it's like a bus, like a moving exhibit of fossils on like an RV bus thing.
Neat.
So
In Mongolia?
In Mongolia.
Oh, neat.
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
Kind of cool. Very boring.
Oh. Well,
very dry,
I mean,
very
bones,
boring.
Dave. Bones.
There's a lot to it.
Mm.
And I just felt like it was drawn out, and the interesting stuff with Mongolia and that whole thing, I thought you could probably have just made the documentary just about that.
Oh.
Or just about this. It just kind of feels like there's so much going on.
But none of it is exciting.
But not all of it is. Like, it's very
dry.
Very dry.
Very drawn out. I like the one part in it where it's just like Jurassic Park came out and then all of a sudden everybody wanted dinosaur bones.
Naturally.
And I think there could have been more with Jurassic, because they talk about Jurassic Park a lot.
They touch on it. Yeah.
They bring it up more than once. And it's like, maybe you could have talked more. Maybe you could have gone down this avenue. Like, I know I'm saying all these things of what it should have done versus what it does do.
It does, yeah.
But I was just like, I thought I would be more interested in it, and I wasn't.
No, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I was very bored.
No.
Like, some of the stuff's interesting. I was riveted by the Mongolian stuff and Mongolian section, and about her quest, like her being a paleontologist and kind of trying to bring the bones back.
Yeah.
And how successful she's been, how successful Mongolia as a country has been of
Yeah.
bringing at least some of them back.
Yeah.
That was all interesting, but it was just like,
Yeah.
other
So
stuff
if you're a bone enthusith, you might enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of a niche audience that
it's a
targeting.
very niche audience.
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yes. I was very let down by this one.
Nah.
I wanted more from this.
There's some interesting good bits in it, but few and far between. Like Dave said, very drawn out. And there's no real you watch it and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
That's fair. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a skip. It sounds.
Yeah, that was a skip.
Definitely. Next up, we got Rouge. This one is a basketball documentary.
Oh,
that
and it's not in French.
And it's not in French.
Oh,
it follows.
Be surprised twice.
Follows the River Rouge high school basketball team in Michigan.
Oh, there we go.
You remember? What's that movie called, Dave?
Hoop Dreams.
Remember Hoop Dreams?
I sure do.
Slap some rouge on it.
All right, got it. So just follow a different team.
Follow a different team.
Cool.
So they're the River Rouge basketball team. They're like one of the top teams.
One of the top high school teams in the U.S.
In the U.S., they have countless state division kind of championships.
Yeah,
they're very well decorated, and it's following them. And
there's a history of that, like players have played at this high school.
Yeah.
So it's following the 2019-2020 team as they're trying to get to their 15th state championship.
Oh, okay.
Right. And of course,
well, yes,
you know what happens in 2020 kind of derails it. So that's kind of the linear through line.
Yeah.
But then they kind of go into the history of the River Rouge team.
Oh,
and kind of like how
the dynasty,
and then some of the players, some of the coaches
nice.
To kind of fill in the different sections. Cause it's clear that it wanted to be just hoop dreams
but
of this team, but it got sidetracked. So they obviously had to pivot.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the pivot.
Yeah, of course.
And it kind of gave it more color of,
it felt like more of like a celebration for the team nice. and the franchise and the dynasty, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, and it has its emotional bits and the amount of past team players they bring back. It's all great, but it's
very
it owes so much to Hoop Dreams.
Yeah,
and
it sounds very Hoop Dreamy.
As much as like I don't want to compare it, it's also like. The basketball scenes aren't nearly as exciting as Hoop Dreams.
Oh God, dang!
It's more like the game film kind of thing, but it's not like remember how Hoop Dreams was more exciting and like
it's still it's good and like I was watching it and I got lost in it.
Yeah,
and I definitely didn't. I was like, oh, I'll just I'll go to bed. I was like, oh, there's only 20 minutes left. Okay, I'll just keep going type thing.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very well done. It's just, it owes way too much to Hoop Dreams.
Yeah.
And I think if we hadn't watched Hoop Dreams, maybe we wouldn't say that.
Got it.
But at the same time, I also feel like if we hadn't watched Hoop Dreams, that this conversation would have been like, oh, I think it reminds me a lot of this movie called Hoop Dreams.
Right. Got it. Yeah.
Maybe I should check that out.
It's very Hoop Dreams.
Yeah. So it's done well and it's interesting enough and it's captivating enough. Yeah. It's just not as good. And it's clear that it wants to be that.
Got it.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd say so. I liked it. I liked it a little bit more than Dave, only because of nostalgia. Obviously, I played basketball for so long.
High school basketball.
I played high school basketball, so that hits the feels a little bit.
Yeah.
I did like
the same with you in Hoop Dreams, though. Yeah,
right, exactly. So a little bit biased, but you know, I think I can be.
Yeah, you're the target audience.
Exactly.
This is true. Right? This is true.
And I liked when they brought back like the past, the guys from the past, and they put them in the old gym, and they're like getting emotional being in the gym, and they're saying stuff about reminding them of like the games they played.
And when they go in the locker room and their shit's still there.
And like, and he's fun. Like pointing in their point. He's like, oh, that's that guy. He's like, oh, that's guy. He's like I live for that kind of shit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And the one player on the team, the current team in the 2020 season, is a legacy player. Like his dad was one of the players, and he passed away.
Oh, geez.
So he's kind of has to live up to that
Right,
legacy.
Right. And there's like a little scene that reminded me of Coach Carter a lot, when it was like the coach was in there and they're going through all their grades and stuff, and he was like giving them shit. They'll be like, get your grades up, that kind of thing. So I thought that was really cute.
Nice.
I love the coach.
The coach was great. The coach was such an unbelievable subject. Like I could hear him talk.
Lamonte Stone, I think it was
something like that. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, very, very, very well done.
Cool.
But yeah, it's Hoop Dreams like basically.
Got it. Hoop Dreams for River Rouge.
Exactly. Right. For a team in Michigan.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
A high school team.
High school team in Michigan.
Got it.
Next up.
Yeah.
We got Fragments of a Life Loved.
Oh, yes. This was the one I watched.
And it's a picture, Jim.
Yeah, so directed by Chloe Barreau. It is a complete archival piece, I would say, of Chloe's life.
Okay.
It chronologicalized. Chronicled. There we go. Sorry.
You're just like looking at me, and I'm like, how am I supposed to? What words do you want to come out of my mouth?
Sorry, my brain just completely forgot what the word was. Chronicled from a perspective of the relationships that she was in. So from her very first relationship when she was basically a teen in high school, all the way up until, let's call it now, and done as very, very candid interviews with every single one of her exes. It's
are they current interviews or
current interviews?
Oh, good for her.
With most of them, let's say most of them, because we don't know if it's everyone, but it's anyway who she was able to basically get a hold of and talk to. It is very, very frank in its telling as well, like, which is I can't even imagine how uncomfortable it was to just kind of like air all that out directly in front of her, because she's the director of the movie and she's filming this, but like they had no shame holding back. And I mean, they're all like either French or Italian, so they don't really give two fucks as it is. Yeah. Most of them were just smoking vapes and, dishing about, how shitty the relationship was or something. Yeah, it was fucked. But like it was interstitialed with like all of this footage, because she has been recording basically since she was like 14 years old. She has like tapes upon tapes upon tapes upon tapes upon tapes of her life. And so it's
tapes or digital files?
Tapes at the time.
Oh, okay.
Like she's, I think, in her 40s now. Okay, so like it was like VHS tapes, like the mini cassettes that you would put in a camcorder.
Oh, mini DVs.
Yeah, and then on to whatever it was after that, like then discs and then digital, and of course, like as camera technology improved, she improved, but it was fine. All of this to say that is basically what it is, and for the longest time, I wasn't 100% sure what sort of like the point was. Like, okay, we're chronologizing your life, we're talking to every one of your exes, which is brutal at moments and like really tough to watch at times, because like they're, she's not the nicest person. Like she definitely cheated on a few of her exes blatantly, sort of thing. And like there's also some messy things where like they were getting into topics about like open relationships, because they were kind of like fluid and open as well. And she's bi. I'm gonna put that label there, but I'm not 100% sure either. But she had maybe she had relationships with both men and women.
Okay, she's not straight.
Yes, correct. She's 100% not straight. And sort of just like she was, but it was built almost around like a self-discovery. Like you could see her kind of like try to figure out who she was through her exes telling her all this, because there's nothing in here that is being told by her. It is just the footage from the time, and her ex is basically recounting how she was as a person. And it felt almost like weirdly like an obituary. Like I was questioning for parts. I'm like, is she alive? I'm not sure. And then I looked and it's like, she's the director though. So she's alive. And then at one point, One of them was like, I don't know, can I is they always refer to her in the third person, which is great, good for them keeping that facade up. But at one point, one of them was like, is Chloe's parents gonna see this? And you could hear Chloe in the background going, yeah, of course they're gonna see it. And I was just like, the fuck, she's in the room and she's alive.
Rough.
So towards the end, she kind of talks about how, or one of her exes, or more recent exes, Jean-Philippe, talks about how, is it Jean-Philippe or Giancarlo? I don't know, one of the two. Anyway, about how it seemed weird how much she like recorded everything and everything else, but at the same time, she became an archivist for her world, her little group of people, and it's like, you know, there's no a proof that we existed at this time and place. We existed. We did these things. We're here. We mattered. Kind of like a legacy thing. Like, you know, everybody's life gets lost in the shuffle of millions of other people's lives. But for this moment, we're here, and like, there's proof that we were here, sort of thing. And I thought that was very lovely. Also, apparently every one of her exes, she, I guess, got them to write her a letter when they broke up, like shortly after they broke up. And I was like, that feels unrealistic. I don't know how you pulled that off, but they all got to read like a letter that they had sent her shortly after their breakup. And a lot of it was kind of heartbreaking and a little sad. But
I'm just impressed that she had the foresight to do this.
Had all of this footage and coverage, had all of these letters, and then was able to basically like, put this entire thing together. But like, this would have had to have been thought out from when she was like at least 16.
Yeah, like at least to say, like, maybe not to format it, put it in this format,
perhaps,
but at least to have the foresight to film it, and have records of all of these things. Because like, I barely like I don't have many girlfriends, but I can barely remember some of the shit that we did.
Yeah, so exactly. Like this, it honestly is, and like and
it sounds impressive. The way you're talking about it, it sounds impressive.
It
sounds fascinating.
It is a little bit kind of in like spaced out a little bit in a weird way because it's being because it's being told through the eyes of her exes. Like the time periods sometimes don't line up, or they overlap, or you're not 100% sure where people quite fit in, because she does like use someone that comes up earlier on, but then they come back later during their actual segment. Like they do have like their name is like a title of a segment. So you kind of understand what era of her life she's in.
Okay.
But I guess because some moments apply to other spots, it kind of feels like they're everywhere, even if they're not everywhere. So it's a little bit messy at times where you're like, I feel like you're trying to tell a linear story, but you're also like adding people in and other spots, and it feels like it messes the flow up slightly. Because then I'm just like, oh, this guy's back, or who the fuck is this? Like, because they don't have a name card until it's their segment. So sometimes you're like, who the fuck are you? Like, and then it's like 10 minutes later, it's like, oh, now you're in Mariana's section. You're like, oh, that's your name. Okay, cool. Now I know who you are. So it was impressive. And like saying all of this out loud too, I initially didn't jive with it all that much, but now that I'm here talking it out, I realize I liked it a lot more and remembered quite a bit of it in its honestly and in its entirety. And it is quite an achievement to put it all. I don't think it's like the best one of the festival for me, but it is pretty good. And it's not, it's tough to watch. You're going to learn a lot, and you might, it's a lot of self-reflection as well, even though it's being told through the eyes of one person. One person's life, let's call it. It's focused solely on Chloe's life. There's a lot that you can pull out of there. That's interesting. And I liked it. I did.
Nice.
Sounds good to me.
Cool.
Yeah, you sold me. I want to see this.
It's good. It is in either French or Italian, so with subtitles throughout, but easy enough to get through.
Excellent.
Dope. All right, next up we got Singing Back the Buffalo.
Oh God, you're doing me back to back. Let's go for it. Okay, so Singing Back the Buffalo. We are talking about the
Buffaloes.
We are talking about the buffaloes, but more specifically, we're talking about the relationship between Indigenous people and the buffalo. Cool. That is the main thrust of the story. So the documentary done by Tasha Hubbard is both the director, and she's in it as well, and she kind of is the narrator throughout, which is good. And she's Cree by birth, and she kind of recently reconnected with her homeland. She reconnected when she was 30 because she was adopted by like a farming family. So getting back to her roots and learning about the buffalo, and then what the buffalo meant to her people back before, reserves and treaties and land agreements and things like that. And it is a Canadian documentary as well, which is very cool. On top of that, it follows sort of like a newer treaty that was done very recently between the different native tribes within Canada, and it has expanded to the United States. But the entire focus is on bringing back the buffalo population because they were hunted to near extinction. So you're following the repopulation of the buffalo within North America. So it takes place over several years. And you follow one particular elder who launched this idea. And it was like, apparently the Canadian government approached him and was like, "Are you allowed to make a treaty?" And he was like, "Yeah, we never gave up that right. We are sovereign people. We can make our own treaties. Go fuck yourself," sort of thing. And they were like, "All right, cool." So they started basically like banding together because as a collective, they could do more good. Then they started working with different zoos or reserves that already had some buffalo in order to grow their population. And then as their population grew, they would rehome them in different areas across, I'm going to say North America, because it really they started bringing this treaty down to tribes in the United States as well. So down all the way into Montana, and I think Utah and things like that. Oklahoma. Sorry. Thank you. To bring the buffalo back to the plains and back to where they were supposed to be. And the agreement is also to foster their population and don't hunt for sport. The native people have always had a respect for the animal. And of course, if they're going to hunt it, they're going to use the entire animal. And they do actually show that in the movie too. They kill a buffalo and then they bring it back and the entire tribe gets together to basically completely skin it, use all the skin, use all the meat. There's nothing left of this buffalo at the end. So it's the entirety of the carcass was used. And then they also do a lottery for who gets to hunt the next buffalo. And it's a big honor and privilege amongst the people that the next person gets to go out and kill the next buffalo for the tribe, sort of thing. So
that's really interesting.
It was really, really interesting to see. And they got quite a lot done. And, over a span of 7-8 years or so, they were able, you were seeing them take these buffalo up in helicopter lifts inside containers and drop them in the middle of a mountainous range in Montana and just let them loose. And they would just
Did they just
disperse?
Fuck,
man. They one of it was really cool. So they sent, the elder, I can't remember his first name, his last name, or his tribe name was Old Person. He went up to the spot where they
that
were
was his name. Old
Correct.
Person.
Correct. Yes.
Good for him.
He went up to the spot where they were going to bring the buffalo, and as part of their ritual, he had a thing of tobacco, and he put that in a spot in the range. He went up there on his own, did a ceremony, put the tobacco in a spot. And it was supposed to be when they release the buffalo, if the buffalo go to that spot, that means that they have chosen this land as their home and they will reside there forever, sort of thing. And I mean, no one knows where this tobacco was except for Old Person. They dropped the buffalo in just a plain area. And the moment they left their containers, they beelined it for where the tobacco was. And it was just they saw it as a huge blessing and a sign. And I was like, holy shit, that's cool. So it was honestly fascinating. I learned a lot about different tribes' cultures, the relationship to the buffalo that were wiped out basically by Whitey, and their quest to basically bring the buffalo back, and how successful they've been so far, and how they still got a lot that they want to do, but the amount that they've accomplished so far is nothing short of amazing.
So I recommend.
Yeah. It's a very, very cool documentary. And there's a lot to learn in there. Wasn't bored once. It was worth every minute of my time.
Very
Nice.
good. It was one of the top 20 audience faves. So that seems to
warranted.
check out.
Yeah, it definitely felt that way. And like, comparing it, I didn't watch the Bones one. But just by comparison, like, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a very interesting subject with it just talking about like rehoming buffalo. It was a fascinating like subject because of the way that she framed it and how much she dived into like the history of the buffalo amongst native peoples, and highly recommend. It was cool.
Excellent. I think this would be a great segue to talk about Red Fever.
Yeah.
Which was directed by Catherine Bainbridge and Neil Diamond. Not that Neil Diamond, which was very disappointing.
This was a world premiere.
Nice. It's coming to theaters on June 14th. It was also a top 20 audience fave.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can see that.
This one we're not allowed to say too much about, but Tony, can you just give us a brief synopsis of what this movie's about?
Briefly, it's basically about how Native Americans and how their influence on pop culture and fashion.
Oh, neat.
And government.
Sure. That's cool.
Yeah.
Different facets of the indigenous.
We're talking like all of indigenous peoples? Or like,
yes.
Okay. Across North America.
Across North America.
Interesting.
There's different tribes.
Of course
and it comes up and it says which tribe they're part of.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of the movie I thought Beethoven's 9 was going to be.
Interesting.
So I enjoyed it.
I also enjoyed it. I liked it incorporated some of the stuff about sports, how the Redskins changed their name.
Of course.
Went into the controversial chant with the chief, the Kansas City Chiefs, the chop.
Yeah.
What else? It talked about how the Blackhawks basically honor them in that way. Touched upon a little bit of the racism with the Cleveland Indians, that one as well. And then basically how the indigenous people influenced flat fashion, and like they got into like Calvin Klein and Ralph Lauren, that kind of thing too. Really, really good documentary.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think it could have been another one of those ones where it could have been a mini series, or like it could have been like
it was enough to cover.
There was enough to cover, and he does a good enough job. He does more than a great job, but there's definitely it's segmentized, and he could have
each one could have been expanded.
Expanded.
Nice.
But yeah, that one. So that keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, we'll do.
Tony, am I taking us home?
Yeah.
Do it.
Take us home, buddy. What's the last one?
The last one is called Made in England, the films of Powell and Pressburger. This one is in UK theaters now. It's going to have its New York premiere at Tribeca, so we might get to talk about it again.
Maybe with more words.
Not allowed. Another one I got to keep short, but basically it is Martin Scorsese giving a history lesson on the films of Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger.
All right.
And just like their influence and all the things they were doing and experimenting with, how he uses some of what they did.
Yeah.
And just kind of how they're more important now than they were then. And it goes through every single one of their movies. So it's a little long in the tooth in some sections, but it's also, I now have a huge list of movies I want to watch.
Great. Yeah.
Like their biggest one is The Red Shoes. Yeah. And I found out today that Martin Scorsese actually owns the original pair of red shoes.
You saw that video too?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
so
wild.
I was like, okay, that's amazing.
That's wild.
So I'm interested. And then the other thing was, I was like, I'm pretty sure they have some criterions, and it's basically like their entire filmography is a criterion.
Of course it is.
So it's well done. It's just a little long. So, but it's a good history lesson. I would definitely recommend it for you if you're a film history buff, or you want to learn more about certain films, or have your your mind kind of expand, or you just want to listen to Martin Scorsese talk about
that's
fucking movies for 2.5 for just over 2 hours.
That's it. That's a selling point.
Winner.
Done.
Winner.
Excellent. Is that everything?
That's all she wrote. We did. Before we close the book on hot dogs.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that all of our favorite dog collectively was Swamp Dog. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony?
Sure. Yeah.
So what was your second favorite dog?
Oh, you got to ask the tough questions.
I got to ask the tough questions.
My Sextortion Diary.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then Never Look Away is a close number 3.
Fair.
Yeah, I think my second favorite, I'm going to have to give it to Singing Back the Buffalo.
Ooh, high praise.
With my third favorite going to Le Mans.
Oh,
55.
yeah, I did like that one a lot. I think my second favorite is Black Box Diaries. The more I think about it, the more I really enjoyed that one.
All right.
And just for the sheer excitement, I did like Never Look Away a lot. I wouldn't say it's at the top. It's in the top 5. I wouldn't say it's number 3, but I like that one a lot. I also like Le Mans a lot. And I've already lost my train of thought. There's been so many great docs.
Yeah.
I think I'm just very much in Tony on my Sextortion Diary.
Sextortion, it's in my top 5.
Drawing a Line.
Drawing a Line was another one.
Yeah.
It was another great one.
Close Cut, Seeking Mavis Beacon.
Well, there we go. Seeking Mavis Beacon. That was another banger.
Yeah.
I really liked Michelle Gondry, Do It Yourself. That was a really well done one. Grand Theft Hamlet.
Grand Theft Hamlet.
That's in the top 10. That's in the top 10 for sure. For sure.
But I think basically what I'm getting at here is that we had no shortage of great documentaries.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there was just so much to watch and so many interesting and fascinating topics to go through.
Yeah, and I think every single year that we do this, we're always surprised by some of the ones that we get and get to watch. And
we didn't even mention American Cats.
No, that's
the
top 10,
good, the bad, and the cuddly. I love that title. Love the title.
But yeah, I mean, every single year that we do this, we always walk away with like, holy shit, like these are incredible. And I think I mentioned in one of the last episodes too of just like I love hot docs for this reason, because not everybody's going to get to see most of these, or if you do, you're going to have to seek them out. They're not as well marketed. They don't have the same marketing budget as like a feature film. You have to do a little bit more work to know about them, find them, watch them, even though I wish for a world where everyone knew about every single documentary. Yeah, it's always been a great festival for learning, and I always feel like I learn something every year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Tony's just nodding.
Tony's in.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, another great festival, and thank you again, Hot Docs.
Yes,
and
please.
All of
big ups,
the press and PR people for helping us out.
Yes.
And with that,
the book's closed.
The book.
Oh,
rough,
mama, I'm tired.
So now we can go back on our bullshit.
Back on our bullshit. What are we talking about then for our bullshit hour?
We are talking about Back to Black. I keep calling it Back in Black, but
I keep wanting to say it too.
It's
it
Back
keeps
to
throwing
Black.
me off.
It's a little bit of a tongue twister.
Sam Taylor Johnson's
Amy Winehouse biopic.
Amy Winehouse biopic.
Yeah. It certainly is a film.
It certainly is a biopic.
It certainly is a biopic.
Cole's Notes.
Yeah.
Biopic.
Yeah. The overview of the Wikipedia pages biopic.
Alyssa asked me how I felt about this movie, and I thought it was exceedingly fine. Exceedingly.
Yeah.
I felt different the night I saw it versus today.
Sure.
But walking out, I thought it was exceedingly fine.
Yeah, I gotta say, in the middle of it, even watching it, during watching it, I don't think I felt one way or the other about this movie, which I think leans directly into exceedingly fine. Like, I didn't really have an opinion one way or the other. There wasn't something I saw on screen that made me immediately go, what the fuck? And like walk out. Like, it wasn't, fucking what the fuck is there? Where the crawdads sing levels of just like, I wanted to kill myself. This was.
I wish I. Manic Pixie
Marshroom Girl. Sorry for bringing that up again. But yeah, like it wasn't like offensively bad to watch. It was fine, but it didn't elicit anything from me.
So it's not quite the whole Amy Winehouse life story. It kind of opens up when she's
already got a fan base.
She already has like a small fan base.
Her first album's out.
She's about to come out with her first album. So and she's not quite as popular as she would become. Yeah. And then kind of gets into her making the second album. Yeah. How she becomes a sensation and kind of her downfall, of drugs and alcohol. Yeah. And all that fun, happy.
Yeah. It's,
as Tony would say it.
Yeah. I mean, for someone, it's got
and her relationship with her husband, Blake.
Yeah.
Or ex-husband, like at the end.
I mean, it's got a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Look, with a biopic, especially one where something terrible has happened to them at the end, you have to do a lot, at least for me, to make me kind of forget about that. To make me forget that I know where the story is going. And to me, this one doesn't do nearly enough to do that. I think about something like Elvis, and maybe that's just because Baz Luhrmann is unhinged. I was fine with it because I was just kind of enthralled with the entire story, and there's more being told than what is already like public knowledge. Getting into like the Colonel Tom Parker or something like that, and deep diving into his home life, which I don't think is as well known. Whereas with this one, I basically just kept sitting there going, okay, and when is she going to record Rehab? And okay, she did the thing. Okay, shit's going bad with this guy. Oh, she's into the drugs. All right, let's go. When's she killing herself? When's it happening? And then it happened. That's, spoiler alert in case no one knows that Amy Winehouse killed herself.
Well, alcohol poisoning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sure. Yes. That is what happened. She struggled with addiction and she ended up ODing.
Yes.
What made me mad was every time it started to go somewhere, it skipped to the next scene.
Yep.
Like it literally was like you're about to get to a moment, you're about to finally feel something for these characters, and then it jumps.
Yep.
And then you're like, okay, well, like because I think I was anticipating certain things because I was remembering the doc, because the doc that they did on her was very, very well done.
Yep.
Oscar winning.
So I was trying to piece together like when the next moment was going to come and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, like why? Like that was such a big moment in her career. Like why did they just like yada, yada, yada it basically?
Do we all find it weird that her mom disappears into the background for the entire movie?
Yeah.
Like she has a tender moment right at the beginning of the movie and then she fucks right off until the end. Like what? Like, and I understand her relationship with her grandmother was important. I'm not discrediting that. I think that was great. But what?
Those are the best scenes in the movie were her with the grandmother.
Yeah. They also, speaking of Tony referencing the Amy documentary as well, they also completely let her father off the hook.
Yes, they do.
And that is an atrocity.
Yes.
Like that man's a piece of shit.
Before we go there, I just want to stay with the grandmother for a sec. Yes. Leslie Manville plays the grandmother, and I thought she did a beautiful job.
I did too.
And those scenes are the most emotional scenes in the movie, and those are the most. When Tony was talking about feeling things, like those were the only scenes I really felt something.
Yeah, and I think it also helped to feel because it made you feel, and then you could also empathize with how Amy was then feeling.
Yes.
Because of what had happened in her life, because of what happened around her from those specific scenes. The emotions were so strong that it worked.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yes. And then to Tony and your point with the yada yadaing, they let the father off. They also let Blake off.
Oh fuck yeah!
And I felt like I'm not a diehard Amy Winehouse fan, and I'm not a diehard who's very up in arms about this film or think it's a disgrace or
I don't care that much.
Or how could they dare make a biopic about Amy Winehouse?
Yeah, I don't care enough.
It's only been 13 years. Like, I'm not up in arms about this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, all of that to say, I don't think it treats her addictions fair. And I don't think it treats her relationship with Blake or her dad with the truth that it deserved.
Correct.
And I think it did too much of a good job. It did too much of a glamorizing smoking crack.
Oh fuck yeah, it did.
Definitely
a little too much glamour on that, which I thought was a disservice to anybody watching the movie.
Crack looked great.
when he hands her the ring box and it's like shiny, I was like, what the fuck?
Like that stuff felt icky and felt like it wasn't done with the proper context it deserves.
Yeah. It also felt like at most points, and maybe this is more correct than not, but like she was basically unchallenged her entire life. Like she was struggling with literally every form of addiction, like booze, cigarettes, bulimia. Like all of it was just kind of like, okay. Also, like they framed her as like just a straight up abuser and then did nothing with that.
Right.
They also framed him getting back together with her as a means of getting money.
Yeah.
And then they don't go back to that. And then they don't
go back to that. Where's fucking crack rock guy beside it, or coke guy beside him going, oh, we could sell her a whole bunch of drugs and stuff. That never comes back. That guy's never seen again for the rest of the movie. I assume he died.
Who knows?
Who's to say?
Who's to say he's even real, James?
Who's to say? He could be a figment. He could be the devil on fucking Blake's shoulder for all I know. I don't fucking know.
And that's what I mean, right? Like you're seeing this relationship with her father, and it's like, wait, like he had more of a presence, like that. And he definitely didn't happen like that. And like when I'm watching it, I'm seeing like the whole like side story with Blake and stuff, and I'm just like, again, like. No, you're spinning it the wrong way. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess, and that's the best way to put it. It is a mess.
Yeah. And I don't think it did enough to even deal with like the just addiction in general. Like I think it just framed everything. Like all of her problems were because she was just madly in love with Blake and couldn't get over Blake. And it's all Blake. That's how it came across. Yeah. And I was sitting there, I'm like, I don't know that I've ever loved someone so much that I would fucking do crack for them. Like,
I guess you've just never been in love, James.
I guess so.
I guess not.
I guess I'm just not nearly in love with someone enough that I would literally fall to shambles.
And they also, like, vague spoiler, but they kind of, Blake is the reason that she dies at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Like
too, which I thought was not that was such a stupid and cliche moment, and just the way
just
they
the entire ending too.
They framed it. I was like, this is weak.
Like lame.
This is weak. I think my biggest problem with this entire movie is I don't know why it exists.
Yeah, I don't know what it's trying to say.
I don't know what it's trying to say.
Yeah.
What is it trying to say about addiction? What is it trying to say about her career? Where is the celebration of the music? Why are you, when you think, I don't know why I keep coming back to it, but I keep coming back to Oscar-winning masterpiece, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes. Yes.
And the good quote unquote parts of Bohemian Rhapsody are when they're developing the songs and when they're coming up with the songs and they're putting the songs together and then performing the songs, right?
Yeah.
And in this, you see it at the beginning where she's like,
she comes up
with a song and she's experimenting with the song and she's coming up with it. But then they don't really do that later.
No.
And
all you see is her just basically recording already pre-done songs. And she, like, I guess they mentioned it at one point. They're like, oh, I got to go out and live my life in order to get more songs. And that's how, you know, she meets Blake.
But they're not exciting moments. No. Like Rehab, like her putting on Rehab is slightly exciting because the scene, like, there's more going on in the scene.
Yeah, it takes fucking long enough to get there too.
Yeah, I was waiting for Rehab for a long time.
Movie, I was like, when's Rehab gonna come? Did I kind of skip it? Like, what's going on?
No, I kind of appreciated the restraint in that because it's like they could have plastered that entire movie with that song, and I'm glad that they didn't. I also realized during watching this that I really can't stand the way that Amy Winehouse sings, and that's a me problem, not an anything problem. I'm not saying anything about. This is an opinion, not a fact. It's not my tempo. But I remember that Grammys performance.
Yeah.
Like, and they did a pretty good, I got to give them a point somewhere. They did a pretty good recreation of that Grammys performance.
That's what I'm saying though. That scene is great.
Yeah.
But all the other ones.
Oh, yeah. The rest of it, who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
But also, that's where her mom comes back. Remember her? She's alive and well.
In that scene as well.
They took her out of the fridge. Also, can I just, speaking of the mom, and only because, like, I can't. I'm hung up on her mom in this entire movie.
Apparently.
Right in the beginning. Her dad brings her home and they're divorced or whatever, and she's like going back inside and she's trying to convince her dad to come in and say hey to her mom because her mom's not doing well. She's like sick, she's not doing well, sort of thing. You should come in and say hello. And he doesn't. And then, like, it's the tender moment between her and her mom, the one tender moment between her and her mom that exists. And it's like, yeah, she looks a little sickly. I guess maybe she's like not doing well. And she shows up at the end of the movie. I'm like, what? Did her sickness leave her? Did she have a demon in her? What happened?
It's a mess, man. It's a mess.
It's very much,
it's messy,
like Tony
man.
said, the Wikipedia hits.
Yeah.
And it glazes over the deeper moments.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the dad. I thought Eddie Marsan did fine for what he was given.
Yeah, for what he's giving. Yeah.
He's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
Jack O'Connell, I thought did very well as Blake.
Yep.
For what he was given. I thought they had great chemistry in that one.
Smarmy douchebag. He pulled it off.
In the pool hall scene. I thought the chemistry there was very good. And I love the way she hangs on them. There's so many moments in this movie where she just hangs.
Yeah.
And she just lets it play out. And that scene felt well suited to that.
Yes.
But then there's other scenes she does it in. And you're like, why the fuck didn't you cut yet?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why are you focusing on this ballet flat? Who the fuck cares?
Yeah. There's this ballet flat in the middle of the street. What is this telling me?
And then it doesn't do anything with the paparazzi either. That was such a big part of it.
Huge part of it.
And the media representation was kind of what also kind of contributed to her kind of falling down.
Yeah.
And it's like, why didn't you do anything with this either?
Yeah. Yeah. It let all the talk show hosts and everything. She was a punchline of a joke for years before her passing. Like, she was the punchline if you needed a scumbag celebrity to point to, or
and Tony mentioned it already. I went home and watched Amy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just comparing and contrasting.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, okay, yep, that's where the movie lines up. Okay, yep, the movie lines up here. But there's just so much that they don't bring up. Yeah. And I understand that, you don't need to show her having like 800 boyfriends type thing. Sure, you don't need to show she's promiscuous. You've already referenced that. You can just kind of put that down. You don't need to mention all her friends. You kind of just thumb it down. But then there's just so many things where you're like, why didn't you go into, you put this here, why didn't you do something with it?
Yeah.
Like, it's 2 hours and it just feels like it's meandering for 2 solid hours.
Yo, and fuck, man, you feel the runtime of this one.
Yeah, you feel it from start to finish, man.
Yeah, it started for me about, I went to the 7:20 show, so it started about 7:35 or so. And I looked at my watch so many times. I'm like, how the fuck is this? It's 9 o'clock. What the fuck? Like, why is this still going?
Yeah, it just meandered. And I just didn't know what the point of it all was.
Yeah.
And then we haven't talked about her yet, but I thought that Marissa Abela did a great job. Like, she's not perfect.
No.
She's not perfect, and she doesn't quite nail the Amy Winehouse kind of Cockney, kind of like South London drag.
Yeah.
she doesn't quite nail that. Doesn't quite nail it perfectly type thing. But I thought she did more than a good job.
Yeah.
Attempting it.
Yeah, absolutely. And she also made me realize that I don't like the way that Amy Winehouse sings because it was so there was so little.
She did the singing in the movie too.
Yes, I know. Yeah, but there was so little.
That was her?
Yes, that was her. Just because I mentioned Bohemian Rhapsody earlier, I needed to mention that she did do the singing.
Yeah, there was so little backing to most of her vocals. It was just basically you're listening to like isolated vocal tracks of Amy Winehouse, which I think when she was singing, she was doing a very good job. And
like,
I was just like,
it's not perfect, but it's very close.
And that's where I was like, no, I don't like this. This ain't for me. So, I mean, just to even elicit that is great. Good. Yeah. Good. She did a good.
I would say she was the best part. I think if it wasn't for her,
and Nan. Yeah.
It would have been a way different movie.
Yeah.
I just like, you could have just made this about a generic Amy Winehouse type.
Yeah.
And made the exact same movie.
Yeah.
Maybe change the lyrics, obviously, but make the exact same movie. And I feel it would have been a stronger film.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have the backstory of Amy Winehouse against it.
Yeah.
Or you're just like, oh yeah, she's an Amy Winehouse type. Okay, I see how all the dominoes are falling. It just, as an Amy Winehouse biopic, it doesn't go deep enough.
No.
And
so shallow.
It's so surface level, and there's just so much that they don't talk about. And it's like, if you want to do that, that's fine, but you need to just narrow the focus.
Yeah.
You can't have the whole story. You got to narrow the focus. And at this point, I don't understand why we still even have musical biopics.
I don't know.
Because the Weird Al movie, Walk Hard, Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. We already said that phrase already today. Yeah. But those movies kind of send up musical biopics or musical movies in general and kind of point out all the tropes and like
all the nonsense.
It's like you just sent up an entire genre. You can't make more of these movies. And then it falls into every single one of the traps that it makes fun of.
Yep.
And it's just like, it's so
It's Again, it honestly, coming back to it's aggressively fine.
Yeah.
Is about all that can be. That's the only amount of praise that it deserves.
Like, I can't even, like, I'm not going to say she had a really remarkable, like, life-changing effect on the world.
Yeah.
Like, she's not.
Her music means a lot to people.
Her music does mean a lot to people.
Yeah.
But it's just like, why?
But this movie doesn't mean amount to anything.
Doesn't amount to anything. You're not.
This isn't it.
This isn't it. There you go.
This isn't it.
This isn't it.
You know, again, I don't want to belabor the point, but like going back to even, I'm thinking recent biopics, like you go back to Elvis. That kind of was it. I'm good with it. Austin put in a great performance. It was great. It was better than this by a lot. But again, because it had focus, it knew the story that it wanted to tell, and it told it, and it had a point. This doesn't. I mean, fuck, Priscilla was better than this. And that's not saying much, but that's saying something.
Well, we're also comparing Baz Luhrmann and Sofia Coppola to Sam Taylor Johnson.
Yes.
It's not exactly.
Yeah, it's not an apples to apples comparison
for the fences.
But even look at Rocket Man.
Sure.
Right? Rocket Man was a great movie, right? Because it had focus.
Yeah.
And that one also told a much bigger story.
Exactly.
Yes. But it was more focused.
It picked a focus.
And it celebrated the music.
Yeah.
And it wasn't afraid to go to the darker places. This one just kind of wallows in the darker places and doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, the way it was framed wasn't like an Addicts Anonymous meeting. Like it was already set up right from the beginning that you were going to go to sort of a dark place. And then I was also thinking of, oh God, I can't remember the title right now.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
No, I was not. Just biopic, not musical biopic. Princess Diana.
Spencer.
pick, to your point, Dave, of picking if you're going to do something, like narrow the focus, like really narrow the, you can pick a specific moment if you want, and like that's a perfect example of that. Like Spencer's a perfect moment of time. You don't have to go super wide if you don't want to. You don't have to cover her entire life, because you kind of yada over it anyway. Because there's, unfortunately, with Amy Winehouse's life, sure, there's a lot, but like it's not, there are moments you're going to yada over. So you could have been specifically focused and maybe dug deep on one moment instead of kind of wide paintbrushing her entire life across the screen. And
or
barely
the important
and barely
adult
dipping the
moments
brush.
of her life.
Yeah. I don't know. Fine.
Yeah. I wouldn't, it's not a high recommend. There's great things about it, but it is, Tony kept saying, I keep re-referencing all the words you guys are saying, but Tony said it best. Mess.
Yeah. It's a mess. It's messy.
Very messy. Very messy. The trailer did like when I saw the trailer, I was like, ooh, like this looks like it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
Very well cut trailer.
Yeah.
Mess of a movie.
Yeah. Good job to the marketing team, though.
Yeah, good job. Good job for sure.
Well, it bombed. Nobody cared.
Yeah. Well, I bet just, in terms of cutting a trailer.
It made money. It made money in the UK, didn't it?
Yes, it made money in the UK, but here nobody cared.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Which, very funny, very apropos to that moment in the movie where they're like, we can't bring this over to America yet. It's not, they're not going to care. Well, we didn't care about this either.
Yeah. It's very true. Very true. I wouldn't rush out to see it. If you're a big Amy Winehouse fan, then
don't even rush out to see it.
I would see the documentary for sure.
I would just go back to the documentary.
Go back to
the documentary is remarkable.
Yeah.
And the way it captures the exact same timeline.
Yeah.
And does it so much better.
Yeah. If you're a diehard Amy Winehouse fan and you want to hate watch something, then still wait for this to come out. Please don't do it. Don't put yourself through it. You're going to be mad just because you spent that much money.
I use my Cineclub
same.
for the month.
Same.
And I wish it didn't, because I wish I didn't see it.
I wish I had still a free movie. But you know what, Dave? It's the end of May. It means June's around the corner, and you got a free movie coming back to you.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. But yeah, big letdown. Even with minimal expectations.
Yeah.
Huge letdown.
Absolutely.
But I really hope that girl, the lead, Marissa Abella. I
want to see her more and stuff.
I hope she goes on, and like this is just a blip for her.
And I hope she didn't like Austin Butler this one to get stuck in an Amy Winehouse accent for the rest of her life.
Yeah, hopefully not. She's in the new Soderbergh movie, and she was in Barbie apparently.
Yeah, she was.
Nice.
One of the Barbies, I think. There was a lot of them.
The entire movie is made up of Barbies or the one mother and daughter who aren't Barbies.
Yes.
So you saying she's a Barbie?
Yes.
That means nothing.
And Ken's and one Alan.
And one Alan. There can only be one.
He's Ken's friend.
It's true.
So that takes care of Back to Black.
Not Back in Black. No, Back
to Black.
Back to Black. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. I got it right the first time.
Okay. I have the vinyl. I really should know.
Back in Black. Wait, the Amy Winehouse one or the easy one?
No, I have the Amy Winehouse.
Oh, Jesus. Not the... Oh, wow.
I get
a lot.
I get a little nostalgic for Amy Winehouse because every time I hear, especially Rehab or like Valerie,
I love Valerie.
I think of being hungover as fuck on a Sunday in Tim Hortons drive-thru.
Oh,
like
specific,
very specific, right? Hearing that song transports me back to that time, and when Dave was like a trainer, his little trainer costume. Yeah,
cute.
Thanks, buddy.
Those were the days, man. Those were the glory days.
Were they?
What's that?
Were they?
I don't know. I had fun doing the Duels of Fate with friend James in the drive-thru as well, while Valerie was playing.
Lord. Anyway, Dave, do we have a new blue?
We do.
Oh, we're back on our bullshit really now, eh?
We really are.
Hell yes, sir.
What did that boy buy? It's Dave's New Blues.
Dazzle me.
So our new blue this week is the 4K of Martin Scorsese's Oscar-winning best picture Oscar-winning film, The Departed.
Long overdue Best Picture Oscar-winning film.
Yes,
from Mr. Scorsese, The Departed. Thank you for saying it correctly. It's the only way.
It is the only way to say
Anyone
it.
who says The Departed can chortle my nuts.
Yes.
It's The Departed.
Yes. Tony likes that a lot.
What the fuck, man?
So it came out as a regular edition and as a steelbook.
Yeah.
The steelbook was super limited, and I ordered it from one site, and they just didn't send it to me. They're just like, we don't have a copy to send you. And I got lucky and found one at Best Buy.
Woo!
So
Thank God.
I was very happy about that because I'm a steelbook fiend.
Yes.
All of that to say,
I had that one in steelbook already.
so did I as a DVD steelbook, but
I had the
it
Blu-ray
clearly
steelbook.
needed
I have the Blu-ray steelbook.
It needed a 4K
Hell yeah.
steelbook. So
I
the
like
rest,
that steelbook too. Ours is nice. It's
the gun,
silver
right?
with
It's the gun. Yeah, it's the same one as
real nice.
It's the same as the DVD.
Yeah, it's nice. Why'd you get a DVD then? How did that happen? It was re-released the same. Okay, got it. Never mind. Carry on. Sorry.
Right. And my ex got that for me.
Yikes.
And she got she drove over a median or something. Something bad happened, and she was very upset when she gave it to me. So it looks great.
Sure.
Very sharp.
Yeah.
Very sharp. Like, I noticed it in the eyes, how clear the eyes were.
Nice.
The whites of the eyes and just the color, the blood coloring,
sure. Yeah.
and just the blues. And
the film is very blue.
it's very blue, and just like like how young Leo DiCaprio looks. He looks like a fucking baby.
Yeah.
Looks like a baby in this movie. But I haven't seen The Departed
Thank you.
in a long time, beginning to end.
Yeah.
So it was wild how great this movie is. It's not it's a mess of a movie.
Yeah. It's all over the place.
It's all over the place. And it definitely plays like Martin Scorsese got a studio movie and he's just like, fuck it. We're just going to do it. We're just going to do whatever.
Fuck it.
Thing.
Infernal Affairs.
Just, there's so much about this movie that just feels like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And it just
including some of the transitions and some of the most wild shit with these fucking circles going in and expanding out. It's fucking nuts. He's all over the place.
Like he's just living his best life.
Yeah.
And
doing just like
this.
the X's, the split diopter shots, and just it's definitely plays like Martin Scorsese. Like, this is it. Like, whatever.
Fuck it. Yeah.
And it's
hilarious that fuck it got them the best picture.
Got him the best picture and his best director.
Yeah.
But it's kinetic. The editing from Thelma Schoonmaker, who's just like, the editing is so good. And there's so many times that there's like a frame missing.
Yeah.
And it jumps.
Yeah.
Or that they speed it up.
Yeah.
Or they slow it down type thing. They're just playing around. And it's shit for a Hollywood blockbuster of this magnitude. It's more art house than it needs, than it should be.
Absolutely.
And I was just hanging on everything. And Jack Nicholson is just like
unfucking
he's just doing what he's just showed up. He's like, I'm just gonna do it my way type thing. And just it's so incredible how it all comes together, but it's such a fucking mess.
Yeah.
It's such a fucking mess, but it's so captivating, and you're just hanging on everything.
But
and
even
like
for
Marky Mark's never been better.
Yeah. Even for a mess, like even for a fucking mess, it's so followable. Like, you never lose track of anything. You know exactly what's happening at all times. Like,
and it's very suspenseful.
It could have been so much worse. It could have fallen apart considering how messy it is. You could have it could have fucked up the story or the plot, the pacing, the twists. Nope. Doesn't fuck out any of it. It all works.
It's just so good.
Yeah.
It's how to do a messy movie well.
Yeah. Martin Sheen falling off the roof is still incredible. It lives in my head. Of just his body hitting the pavement. And the fact that they just left it there, like it was just like splat and you're just watching it like, holy fuck.
I just like DiCaprio's freaking out and he like checks his pulse. What are you bothering for, man? Like, but his brain is on the pavement.
Blood splatter. Literally just like hits you like a sack of bricks. There's so many moments in that movie that hit you like a sack of bricks. You guys are saying it's messy. I think it's fucking perfect. Like,
no, okay, we're not saying it's not perfect. No. We're saying it's messy.
It's perfect.
I love it. Unabashedly love it. But yeah, I do think seeing it now, I thought it was messy.
I've seen it. I think I've seen it twice within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And it honestly, every watch is the exact same. I'm still like that fucking 15-year-old boy in the theater. I saw it with mom, and I remember screaming at the theater in the theater, and I'm literally like that every fucking time.
Yeah.
I vividly remember the elevator door opening and people freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
I fucking jump. I jump every fucking time.
Yeah.
I don't.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah. It fucking hits you. It hits you like a shotgun blast.
Oh my God.
Just like the sound design of just like that fucking explosion, basically.
And it's just a straight up tragedy. Everybody just fucking dies. Like
everyone fucking eats it.
It's also really funny.
Oh it's
really funny.
Disgusting.
When you guys are talking about Martin Sheen dying, afterwards they got the one guy who's in all the different who like the everyman character Irish actor. He's like, we were really excessive with the cop. We were really excessive. We could have done it. We could have toned it down a bit. And I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Wasn't it Ray Winstone when he's like, she felt funny?
No,
that was Francis. Jack Nicholson says it, and then he's like, you need help.
It's Francis going, Jesus. She felt funny. Francis, you need help.
I really think you should see someone.
You should see someone.
I often say, Mother, I won't be home for supper. And just for no particular reason other than I just love the line delivery of this dense Irishman.
And when he walks up to the guy and he's like, what's this IRA motherfucker doing in my bar? And then he's just like, hey, how you doing type thing.
Yeah.
He's like, my mom's on her way out. She's like, and then
we all are act accordingly.
It's so good. Accordingly.
It's so fucking good.
And just the way Jack Nicholson is introduced in that movie with Gimme Shelter.
Yeah.
And he's just walking in the dark and the smoke's coming up. It's
that opening narration with him is fucking textbook.
I struggle not to finish up the line anytime I hear someone order a fucking cranberry juice. Anytime someone's like, I'll have a cranberry juice in my head. I'm just like, what are you on your period? It's a natural diuretic.
So quotable.
That isn't exactly a guy you can't beat up, but it's not a guy that you can beat up. It's so good.
I'm fucking putting it on.
Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. They're all at aces in it. Like
every single one.
Martin Sheen is great. Wahlberg's incredible.
I'm trying to think of how he says it. He's like, "Fuck yourself," and then he's like, "Fuck you. How's your mother?" She's fine. She's tired of fucking my father.
Yeah.
What?
No, tired from. Yeah, fucking Christ. Oh my God. Yeah, Alec Baldwin, Matt Damon, DiCaprio, Wahlberg,
James Badge Dale's really good in it
James
too.
Badge Dale.
Vera Farmiga's very good in it.
doing like
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack fucking Nicholson. Jesus.
Like I said, it's a great movie. It's 2.5 hours that just whips fucking by. And it's
Jack Nicholson with a giant black dildo hanging out of his pants.
That's weird.
Excellent.
That was
excellent.
That's a thing.
Yeah. Just hearing him go, "You're a dirty girl." Oh, you're a dirty girl.
Like I said, it's messy, but it's so well
There's
done.
Just so much going on in that movie. Jesus fucking Christ.
It should not. I think in anyone else's hands, it would have been a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
But in his hands, he just
it's a masterpiece. It's an absolute
top tier. I love it. And so there's a couple of features on it, and one of them is like a 15-minute retrospective of him now talking about it.
Yeah.
And he's just so candid about how he took the job and how he didn't think much of it because he just came off The Aviator and he got burned on Gangs of New York type thing.
Yeah.
And just like his attitude making the movie and how he put certain things together and how his arguments with the studio because they wanted it to be more like Infernal Affairs where he lives at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just like, nah,
Fuck that.
he has to go.
Yeah, they all gotta go.
He has to go.
Yeah.
And just
because even that scene, fuck, man, that ending when fucking he opens the door and Marky Mark's already in the apartment wearing the booties, and you're just like, what the fuck?
And then the rat.
And then the rat. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. All of this to say, if you don't already have The Departed on Blu-ray,
yeah,
then you need to buy it on 4K.
Yeah,
because it's worth the investment. And yeah, like what are your go-to Scorsese's, like other than Goodfellas? Like we gotta put Goodfellas and we gotta put Taxi Driver kind of on. We'll just keep them on the pedestal.
Yeah. Well, this Departed is highly in my rotation of Scorsese because it's so good. It's so good. This Wolfie, I've watched Wolf of Wall Street a lot.
I think I've only seen it once.
Oh, I've watched it so many times.
At least back to front once.
Yeah. And then I think honestly, if I'm keeping all the other big ones off, Shutter Island.
You like that one?
I've revisited it many times. I like it.
Not a big fan.
I like it. It's grown on me over the years.
Other than Through the Wall.
Yes. It's grown on me over the years. I've sort of, I don't think I liked it at first, but the more times I watch it, the more I just kind of like admire it more and more for what it is. I don't know. It's kind of thrilling and spooky.
It is very spooky.
I like it. Those are mine.
I really like Bringing Out the Dead.
I feel like I need to watch that one more. I just watched that recently and like I liked it, but like I feel like I need to watch it a couple more times before I'm like fully there,
fully on board.
Yeah.
But I really like Bringing Out the Dead, and since we're talking about messes, I have a soft spot for Gangs of New York.
I also have a soft spot for Gangs.
I love Bill the Butcher.
Yeah.
I love him so much. I just that opening scene. That was the first Scorsese movie I saw in the theaters, and it hit me like a stack of bricks.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for that one. Tony.
I have a soft spot for Cape Fear.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah,
Cape Fear's a good fucking wild.
Yeah, I watched that one around Halloween, and it was very wild.
You can't. Every time I watch it, I forget that Scorsese directs it because it's like completely fucking out there for him.
Yeah,
but it's so very much a Scorsese movie. Like he is a master at his craft, and I also have a soft spot for Mean Streets as well.
That's fair.
That's fair. That one for sure, and obviously Raging Bull.
Yeah.
No love for Hugo.
No. I want to see
Casino.
Casino.
Casino's just long.
Too fucking long.
Age of Innocence.
King of Comedy is really good. If you guys,
I haven't seen that in ages.
Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore.
I haven't seen that one. I really want to see After Hours.
Color of Money.
I haven't seen.
No Love for Last Temptation.
No Love for Last Temptation.
Last Waltz.
I need to go back to Last Temptation again.
Yeah, you do.
What about The Irishman, boys? What about The Irishman?
No, I have no love for The Irishman. It's fine.
Honestly, I like The Irishman. I think a part of the reason why I like The Irishman is because I saw it with you two knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember me and James chirping you when you had to get up.
To go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's 3.5 hours, man.
Buddy, I totally get it.
Speaking of though, and it was my favorite movie of last year, Killers of the Flower Moon.
I was about to say Killers of the Flower Moon.
I think it's just a little bit too recent for me to say that it's like my all-time top favorite, because again, I like to revisit things, and if I kind of base it on how rewatchable it is. So far I haven't gone back to Killers of the Flower Moon, but it's also only been a few months.
Yeah. I still think it's top tier though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's top tier.
Top tier.
It's excellent. Beyond excellent.
What about Kundun?
No.
Or Silence.
Oh God.
Definitely. If there is a movie that I do not want to revisit, it's
Silence.
Fucking Silence.
Yeah.
Well, when we get the Arrow 4K, you can
revisit
it then.
But looking at his list here on Letterboxd, there's definitely some Scorsese movies that I want to revisit again. Because I haven't seen them since we were teenagers, and we were like we had Scorsese on the pedestal, as he should be, obviously. Yes. But like, and that was the moment, and I remember us just going through every single Scorsese movie.
Yeah,
right.
That's when I watched King of Comedy. Was back then.
Yeah, well, I had to watch King of Comedy for movie club the one week, and Yeah, Joker's pretty much like fucking.
I haven't seen King Comedy, but I've seen Joker
Pretty much
3
spot
times.
on.
So.
You're good. You're there.
Pretty much
You're there.
spring on.
You're there.
Bang on.
I just wanted to say, just as like kind of an aside, who stopped putting trailers on the Blu-rays and the 4Ks? It was a big feature on every DVD.
Oh, like trailers for the movie that you're
trailers
watching?
for the movie you're watching. It was a big feature on DVDs, and then they just stopped doing it. And I don't know who stopped doing it, but I'm pissed off at them because the Departed trailer is awesome.
Perfection.
I love that fucking trailer, and not having it in 4K on the disc pisses me off.
Oh, but they have other special features. I wonder if they had to sacrifice something for
It's just
the space.
It's just trailers in general, though.
Yeah.
Like we have the Dune 2 Steelbook in front of us as well.
Yeah.
That one doesn't have the trailer on it, but those trailers were great as well.
Yeah. And if
And
it's a special edition, it should at least be like on the second disc or something, right?
Right?
You'd imagine?
Like they still have them on Criterions.
Yeah.
Or like if it's a boutique release, they still include them. But if it's like a regular film release, they don't include them.
Interesting.
And it's so annoying because I love going back to the trailers and seeing how they promoted the movie.
Yeah. Strange. That is strange.
And yeah, the Departed trailer like lives in my head rent free. I love that trailer.
Oh,
It's
wow.
such a great trailer.
Yeah.
Have you seen it in a while?
No, it's
just
been a long,
rock,
long time.
Fucking solid trailer. I'll show it to you after we're done. But like not having that in 4K is upsetting.
Dang.
Also, I didn't mention it, but I need to mention it. The menu music shipping up to Boston.
Yeah. 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 That's the same on ours.
It just starts up and it just goes. I was like, yep.
Yeah. That song slightly overused in the movie, but it's a banger.
Every song in that movie is slightly overused.
Yeah. Hey, look, you know what? The fact that they got Gimme Shelter, he had to get his money's worth out of it.
It's true.
That's an expensive song to license.
I'm pretty sure they just gave it's Scorsese. They just gave it to him.
It's an expensive. They don't own their own songs.
Yeah, but it's not like he's never used the Stones before. I'm sure he has a relationship where they're where they would give him whoever owns the song.
Fair.
Would hand it to him a lot easier than
anybody else.
If we asked to use Gimme Shelter.
Yeah, they'd be like, go fuck yourself. Pay us $3 million.
So, but yeah, that's our that's the movie for this week.
Cool.
The Blu-ray for this week.
I love it. So I think wraps it up then. That wraps us up then because I can't talk at all tonight.
Yes.
So we're gonna be back on our regular scheduled bullshit next week. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
2 weeks.
And then we're gonna go back into festival mode again.
Yes. Yeah, we have one brief. You guys get one brief reprieve where we talk about normal stuff for a bit, and then we gotta like pummel movies at you.
Back on the festival circuit.
That you can build your own letterboxed watch lists out of at this point, and probably watch movies and stop listening to us for a year just to catch up on all the movies that we've thrown at you so far. Between the docs and Tribeca, I think it's going to be, someone's entire year's worth of movies.
And all the canned stuff that's coming out right now sounds amazing.
Oh, God. No. It starts. God damn it.
I'm pretty excited. We haven't had a Shutter Minute for a bit, so I'll probably do like a double.
This I am excited for.
Maybe a double or triple header in Shutter.
Hell yeah.
Catch up. There's definitely some big
let's
releases.
Not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's me. I'll definitely do it.
Yeah.
There's definitely some big releases that we haven't touched upon on Shutter, so we'll bring those home.
Yeah, then we go Tribeca, and then after that, we ramp right into probably Fantasia at that point, and
fingers crossed.
Yeah. Then 6-hour episodes to cover off all of TIFF. Cool.
Yeah.
Well then, until 2 weeks from now, I'm still Jimmy, and I'm here with
Big Tasty Tony B
and
Dramatic Dave.
And we are the Funker Guns Podcast with Tony David James, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Toodles.